Alrighty then, it's going to be time to throw the engine back on the chassis. So we got that all mounted in. Mostly, I haven't actually tightened the bolts, but it's sitting there on the mounts. Got the bolt in there, and there, and the trans mount. Just all finger tight. I'm going to snug them up in just a sec. But yeah, so there's a decent amount I still have to do before I can put the cab on. I may or may not show that on camera. First thing is going to be to actually mount that water pump. That's just kind of mocked there. I need to find the rest of my accessories. So I know where the alternator is because I'm using the old alternator from the Blazer, which was still good, just didn't have the amperage I needed for running a computer and a fuel pump. Then I also do need to break up the screw extractors because there is a broken bolt in that hole. Also, yes, there's paint on the exhaust mounting flanges. I wasn't too concerned about that when I was painting because you can just scrape it off with a razor blade. It's really not that hard. Masking was more of a pain in the ass since everything was still a little oily. And actually, because it's oily, I can just scrape that off like so. So yeah, don't worry about that. Not a big deal. But that is a medium big deal. So I'm going to drill that out. I may or may not show you how to deal with that. But if I do, it'll probably be a different video. But once that's all done, I'll hang that from the hoist and do the same shimmying that I did with this. I'll actually probably, the game plan is going to be to scoot it half outside, wheel that over, then nose it over like this so it's diagonal, and then I'll either do a shimmy like I did before, or I'll put it up on the moving dollies and slide it over. Probably the latter because that seems a lot easier. But engine is back installed, so we're officially starting the reassembly. So yeah, let's I guess get to it. Installed, bolted down, and some things kind of in place. Brake booster or brake master cylinder kind of attached to the brake booster, just kind of there. I do need to pull that off to get the headers on. Got the grill shell sort of mocked up. I don't know how I'm going to mount that quite yet. I'm going to probably build some brackets. I might actually use the original core support to do that, and probably kind of maybe trim away some bits so that I can use the headlights, but make them look a little bit more classy. So that's sort of the plan right now. Yeah, I think my next step is going to be to put that steering column in. Okay, so there we are. Cab is bolted on. I've started getting some bits in, so I got the steering column in and all that. Just threw the hood on to sort of mock it up. I've got it suspended from the ceiling right there. Basically trying to get the right angle there, seeing where that fits right there. So far that looks like it's doing pretty good. So this looks to be about the right height. The issue is, I'm not sure if many of you guys know, I am not going to use the stock front end and fenders from a 40s Chevy. A lot of that's partly because I don't have it, and then also partly because I just don't really want to. So I wanted a little more classic hot rod look. So I've got this Model A grill shell that you may or may not have seen me fixing up already. And I picked up a kind of chintzy aluminum radiator for, I think it was like 130 bucks on the Amazons. I do need to find some spacers, because basically this tab where the bottom of the radiator mounts sits flush with this little step that's on each side. So I'm going to use that as my reference when I kind of mount the radiator. It's actually probably a little bit taller, so I can fudge about 3/4, maybe a 1/2 inch. So basically I got to figure out how I'm going to mount this guy to the front of the frame. I'm thinking about welding in just a piece of rectangular tubing as a second, kind of like a second frame, like radiator support. Can you tell I have asshole neighbors? It's July 5th, and clearly 3 a.m. wasn't late enough for them last night. They're still frickin' at it. Anyway, let's get back to actual work.